Hi guys, and welcome to this video on the Helldiver. So I briefly teased about this in a previous video of what's coming up, and this is a new model that I've picked up, built like this, ready to go. It's actually quite a few years old. The builder of the model flew it for a while himself, and then I think it passed on to someone else who flew it for a little bit, but it's pretty much sat around dormant for a little while now, and it's got the usual kind of wear and tear. There's a lot of dents, stinks, marks, and just general wear and tear. So what I really want to do is just go through all the model and check everything over, get it all set up, make sure it's all working as it should, have a look over everything, and then what I'd really like to do is improve it, so repair some of the things that are up with it, maybe add some more scale detail, and just see what we can do with it. I may even consider completely repainting it. Just really depends how much time and effort I want to put into it. But my thinking is to do the minimal first, maybe have a fly with it, see how it flies, make sure I like it before I spend more time and effort putting into it to then ultimately potentially not like it. So what I want to do first is give it a good check over, get it all set up first. So the model itself is quite large. It's a 115-inch span. It is built from a Jerry Bates kit. But the builder tend to build things quite simple and basic, so as you can see there's not really any panel lines or rivets, there's no real major scale detail, it's just very much the basics. So the idea was that he just gets them and flies them. He puts minimal effort into the actual setup and the ground appearance, but then they look great in the sky, which can see from this one, I'm sure it would, and it's certainly a different subject. So it's got various little features. So we have got working Bombay doors, we've got the flaps and the dive brakes. It's got twin cockpit, so you've got a rear gunner in there as well as a pilot for the front. He's out at the moment. Well, I was just having a look at some of the wiring. So just got to go through all of that. It's got a 75cc Quadra engine, which is an old engine, but when I picked it up, we ran it up and it was running nicely. So hopefully that'll all be good. Nice big wheels and retracts on it. So these are Robart retracts. Like I say, there's some damage and just general wear and tear that you get with a used model, so hopefully we can just get this all touched up. So as I mentioned before, what I'd really like to do at some point, providing that I do actually like the plane when I come to fly it, is maybe add some more detail to this, so get some panel lines and rivets, repair all these marks and dents. There's a few little marks that you can just see. The more time you spend looking at it, the more you pick out little patches and marks, which when it's in the air you wouldn't notice, but on the ground, if you want it to look special, then you're gonna have to spend some time and effort on it. Looking at the back, similar sort of things again, just general wear and tear in the usual areas where it's probably just been bumped and dinked around in transport and storage, and general wear and tear. So again, there's no cockpit or anything like that, so might be an idea to put a cockpit in there, see what we can work with. May even look at trying to see if we can make these removable. So currently these are all just screwed in and fixed in place, but might be an idea to try and see if we can add some rails to move both of these and have them on latches. on the full size there is an antenna that comes out somewhere around here, and then with some wire that goes to the back of the plane. We might look to add that. I may even look to, like I say, repaint it potentially, depending on how much time and effort I want to put into it. But it is a big model. Pretty much one of the first things I always do when I buy a model is just get it set up like this, in its kind of standing on its legs, giving it a good chance to just check everything over, spot any issues or potential areas you might want to look at, come up with a bit of a plan of action, have a think about where you want to place your things like batteries, receiver, switch, etc., and what you want to use. So I'm going to be using my old faithful Futaba and a power box switch with which is dual battery redundancy, so you have 2 batteries going into that. This is just a little NIM battery and a servo tester, which I use just to kind of test servos if you're not sure what some wires are. So you can simply plug the tester into a servo, plug the battery in and test movements so that you can see what wire operates what switch or what servo. Okay, so now we have it all split apart separately. So probably the biggest downside with this model is that the wing is just one piece, and it is a big lump to move around and transport, etc. But it is what it is. So yeah, so if we start taking a look at things, I can see some of the hatches are just very basic. We'll have to get these off and inspect everything under there, make sure everything's all in working order, nothing's too loose. Retracts look pretty good and sturdy, nice big strong wheels. Having a look inside the bomb bay area, so looks like we've got a couple of servos here that operate the doors on the inside, opening and closing, and I guess to make some sort of mechanism in here to drop some bombs, or I guess just store it in here and open the doors. But yeah, we'll have a think about that. I have a feeling it looks like there's been a servo or something there at some point, maybe to do with that. The dive brakes and flaps, again, have a look at that. And then moving on to here, so the tail wheel basically is non-existent. So the previous owner told me that it pretty much had never really needed a tail wheel, so interesting. It looks pretty fixed on there with no real obvious way to get that off, so I'll have to have a think about what we do with that, or leave it on there like that for now. A little bit of a hole there that will need patching up. And then on the inside, just having a look over the servos and the setup in the front. Still some fuel in there, so I need to get that emptied out. And then we can get the prop and spinner and cowl off to have a look at the engine. So fast forward again a little bit. We now have the wings back on the model and the model's on the floor. I've taken the cowl off and the prop and the spinner obviously, and just to give the engine area a good inspection over, and I've been able to check over the fuel lines. What I'm actually going to do is completely take out the fuel tank, just to check the innards of the fuel tank, and do any replacements of old kind of tubing. And it's also obviously allowed me to get access to the carb to set up the throttle positions, and I've now also just fully gone over and set everything up on the controls for the plane. So radio wise, it's pretty much ready to go for some more testing. So going through all the movements, we obviously have the throttle position as I mentioned, so we've got the throttle servo moving there. On the carb, we have the rudder moving, we have the elevators set up, we have the ailerons, and we also have the retracts, which obviously I can't demonstrate whilst it's on the floor, but just coming round to the side now, we have the flaps. So coming down to position 1 and position 2, and then just switching that to use the dive brakes as well. And then we've also got the bomb bay doors underneath. So yeah, everything's pretty much there on the basics. Next up, as I mentioned, I'm just going to take the fuel tank out and check that over, replace any fuel tubing, and make sure everything's good on that. And then it's time to put the prop and spinner back on and test run the engine. So that brings us to the end of this first video. We've pretty much gone through all the initial kind of setup and going through the model from when I first picked it up, highlighting what we need to do, getting it checked over, and yeah, just working out what we want to do with it really. Next up, as I mentioned, I'll be looking to get the engine running and doing some ground tests, all the kind of usual pre-flight checks. And then sometime soon, once the weather's right and I get the right opportunity, it will be time for a maiden. Obviously, it's already flown under other people, but it's the first time for me. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. I'm sure it'll all be caught on video and be uploaded soon. So thanks everyone, catch you soon. Well, that brings us to the end of this video. Hope you've enjoyed it. Make sure to subscribe to my channel to keep up to date on all the latest videos. And don't forget, it's free, so you have no excuse. Make sure to drop a comment in the video or drop me a message to let me know if you'd like to see anything else in my videos. And if you haven't already, follow the link tree either in my profile or usually in the description of the video, that will take you to an online portal to access any of my other social media channels. I post a lot on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, whatever it may be that you're on, I'm on it. So go on and follow it. As quite often my content varies from platform to platform. I don't often post the same stuff, so be sure to follow in them all. If you're on Facebook, be sure to check out the brand new RC Plane Guy community Facebook group, which is a whole new space I've created primarily for you as the viewers, and to be able to interact with each other, comment, post your own photos and videos, share that experience and knowledge that's out there. I know there's so many different aspects of the hobby out there, and it's great to see everyone enjoying it and showcasing it for yourselves. So make sure you join the group and post some content, because it's great to see, and I really want to build that into a great place